This show is sponsored by Alicia's Pillows and Things. Check out the Facebook page, Alicia's Pillows and Things, where you will find home decor you will not be able to resist at prices anybody can afford. Check out the pillows and stools of your favorite sports teams. Maybe you want a set of your kid's favorite cartoon or movie character. You can also get full body and neck pillows as well. Log on to ngscsports.com and go to the Alicia's Pillows and Things tab on the homepage to complete your order. It makes a great gift for Christmas at an affordable price. NGSC Sports. We never stop.
You're listening to NGSC Sports Radio. Hear us live on ngscsports.com, where you can get awesome analysis for all things sport. Or check out our podcasts on iHeartRadio, Spreaker, iTunes, TuneIn, and much more. For our latest videos, head to NGSC Sports YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter at NGSC Sports and like us on Facebook. NGSC Sports. We never stop.
Long day.
I can imagine.
Had its moments.
I know that feeling.
Yes, sir.
It's not always fun.
Not always fun. Not always fun, but definitely had its pluses today.
Well, that's good. That's good. You know.
Yeah.
Hey. It's what every team really wants as they're beginning the season and they're in a midweek matchup in another country. They want to go into stoppage time and then into extra time and then to penalties. It's what they want.
Hey, man, you lift a trophy,
What's 30 extra minutes?
We've conquered all of Europe.
Yeah.
Never gonna stop. Eventually we will, but right now we're not.
Oh, man. That is delicious.
It was a good day.
Yeah. It was. And it'll be a great night here. Or day, whenever you're listening to this on the Informed Affair podcast. Hey, what's up, everybody? I am Edward Green, joined as always by Macaulay Crime, Wes Bradshaw, and boy, do we have a big episode for you guys today. Not only do we have, finally, our Premier League predictions for the 2018... Anyway, the 2019-20.
Yes, the 2018. I might be able to get some of those right.
The 2019-2020 Premier League season. We will be doing those. And then, of course, recapping the first week. So much gap in the first week. VAR already introduced in a super positive way in the Premier League. That was great. Wild accusations already being thrown around. Hot takes being given. And people already going down with injuries. So we'll, of course, get to all that. As well as Liverpool's win in the biggest tournament so far of the year, the UEFA Super Cup. Easily one of the top 6 biggest trophies in the world. We'll be getting to that, as well as, of course, the news and notes, the watch for, and maybe So Raw? Solely Raw? I mean...
yeah, we'll run down SummerSlam, why not?
Hey, SummerSlam! It is what it is.
I'm glad I got a notification that was on Sunday.
Yeah, right. What was I doing? I was doing the spoiler, just to take you, or not spoiler alert, but to take you guys behind the curtain a little bit. I do the Twitter posts for the AFA Pod Twitter handle, and when I was thinking of what to program for the Saturday one that was going to go off, I was like, I wonder what's happening in wrestling. And then I saw a tweet somebody posted about WrestleMania being this Sunday, or SummerSlam being this Sunday, and I was like, oh. So that's this weekend, is it?
It's only like the second biggest show of the year, but yeah.
This is your fault, Vince.
AEW week on week. I cannot. That's got to come and try to save me.
Yeah, there you go. It'll start soon, and hopefully
we're just gonna have a decision to make at the end of the year. I think so.
Fun. So we'll of course get to that later on in the pod. As always, this pod is presented by NGSC Sports and NGSCSports.com. We never stop, as well as Alicia's Pillows and Things. Hey, if you're down with the pillows and things, hey, Premier League's just starting up. So I know you guys out there, you wake up early to catch the Premier League, especially on the East Coast here in the United States, to see those 12:30 England time matches. You're waking up at like 7:15 here. So while you're watching Rebecca Lowe on your Saturday or Sunday morning, why not have your favorite Premier League team on a body pillow? So you don't even have to roll out of bed. You just already have your favorite team right there. It'll be great. Well, check out Alicia's Pillows and Things on Facebook. She has some amazing things. You can tell Wes is excited about this prospect. So go check that out. And if you want some more deals, please visit NGSC Sports for some great information there. So again, that's Alicia's Pillows and Things on Facebook. So yeah, that's it. That's totally it this week. That's everything. It's not summer anymore. Nobody needs sunglasses. So as we move on, what should we do first, Wes? Do you want to do a recap of the week, or do you want to just dive into our predictions first?
Yeah, Maradona. Let's do a recap.
All right, we'll do the recap first.
I mean, we don't have to do the most in-depth, greatest recap of all.
No. We'll just hit a few matches because there was some craziness that happened, and I'll just run through, and then we'll just hit some of the highlights. We'll start Friday, August 9th. Premier League starts. Friday Night Football on NBC Sports. Liverpool picking up right mostly where they left off from last season, crushing newly promoted Norwich 4-1, starting off with an own goal from poor Grant Hanley. No one to frame him there as Liverpool got off the ground running in the 7th minute. Then Salah and Van Dijk picked up right where they left off from last season, each scored in the first half hour, followed by a Divock Origi goal just before halftime. That was 4-0. They did give one away late on in the final half hour to Timu Pukki, who did put one in. Oh, that's going to be a fun name to say this year for Norwich, as he got one back for Norwich, as they were able to go home with something from this match. And, of course, we'll have a little bit of the injury news from this a little bit later on as we dive a little deeper. But just like last year, in the spirit of anything you can do, I can do better, apparently, Man City comes out and blows out West Ham 5-0. Sterling with the first match hattie in the new Premier League season. 3 goals to go along with a Gabriel Jesus goal, as well as a Kuhn penalty in the 86th minute that actually ended up getting VAR'd because it was a judge that the West Ham keeper came off his line. Or no, actually it was, I think it was Declan Rice came in too early. I don't know. Somebody moved off the line early, and they had to retake the penalty, and Aguero scored it. So 5-0 City. They're rampant once again. Palace and Everton played to a 0-0 draw. Good for Everton. Those summer signings paying off. Brighton Hove, big win over Watford, 3-0 on the road. Anthony Doucouré with an own goal for Watford starting it off. A lot of own goals this weekend. And then Brighton would strike for 2 more in the final 30 minutes to get the result on the road. Similar scoreline for Burnley as they beat Southampton 3-0. 2 teams that may be looking to avoid the drop this year. Ashley Barnes with the brace in there just 7 minutes apart from the second half. Sheffield gets their first point in the Premier League as they draw Bournemouth 1-1. Late drama there as Billy Sharp steps up in the final few minutes to get Sheffield United their equalizer. Tottenham in the afternoon match on Sunday gets the 3-1 win over Villa as they're back up in the Prem. They took a little bit of a shock early lead through some poor defending and a great finish from John McGinn in the 9th minute. But on his debut, Tanguy Ndombele came through with a big goal in the 73rd minute. And then Harry Kane, he doesn't score in August until now. He scored 2 in the final 5 minutes of the match to give Tottenham a big win and their first season opener in their new stadium. Still naming yet to be determined. But they do get all 3 points, which is what matters. And then on Sunday, Leicester and Wolves played to a 0-0 draw. Wolves thought they had a goal early in the second half, but that was judged by VAR to be actually not because of a foul committed in the box. So that one stayed 0-0. Arsenal gets a 1-0 win over Newcastle. Oh, poor Newcastle. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang on the score sheet there just before the hour mark to get Arsenal the 1-0 victory. And then United blitzed Chelsea after getting outplayed for the first about 15 minutes of the match to win 4-0. Big stuff there we'll be talking about. And actually, Wes, if you want to, we can start with that match as we do a little more of a deeper dive into a few of these. This was a big match, I think, come into the week. 2 teams in a bit of transition. We still don't know who's going to stay at United through the rest of this transfer period. That's still open for the rest of Europe outside of England. We don't know what's going to happen to Paul Pogba. Romelu Lukaku has gone off to Italy. Marcus Rashford now the upfront man for good. And they brought in, of course, the now richest defensive player ever, Harry Maguire, comes in. Chelsea looked good early. Then they kind of gift a penalty to United through Kurt Zuma in the 18th minute. And then in the second half, the floodgates just sort of opened, and there was nothing really Chelsea could do about it. I even texted you, I said, Chelsea, the way they're playing under Frank Lampard in his first season there, they look like they might get hit out on the counter a lot. And that's actually especially what happened for the second and third goals, especially the one from Rashford in the 67th, which was just beautifully assisted from Paul Pogba, one of the few things he actually did right on the day. But Wes, this was, I think, a big match for both these teams. United, a team in turbulent times, to get a resounding 4-0 win to start the season. And Chelsea, also a team in a little bit of transition, showing very early on what they have to work on the rest of the season.
Absolutely. I mean, two teams who have really fallen off their perch here in the last few seasons. Personnel decisions, management decisions, front office decisions. For the two teams that for about a decade were kind of the benchmark of the Premier League, as United and Chelsea were. I think you just kind of have to take this result with a grain of salt. I don't think Chelsea are quite as bad as the scoreline said. I don't think United are quite as good as the scoreline said. I do believe Chelsea's going to have trouble. And after watching Chelsea firsthand today in the Super Cup, I think Chelsea are going to have issues scoring this season.
That's it, yeah.
I think they've got talented players, but it just seems like, I don't know if things are going to totally mesh with a lot of these guys. And, of course, Chelsea can't bring anyone in new until next summer. So they're kind of stuck with this group and see what happens. Pulisic, I saw some good things from Pulisic today. He wasn't very effective against United, but, coming in that point down where they were, trying to do what they were trying to do, they didn't really have a chance. Defensively, there are issues there. Even with Wan-Bissaka and Harry Maguire, who, really looking at, those are good buys. Did they overpay for both of them? Of course they did. This day and age, who really cares?
It's starting to get that way.
Well, especially if you're Manchester United, you're like the richest club in the world. Who gives a shit if you overpaid? It's not like it's not like suddenly the Glazers can't, buy dinner, can't go to KFC and buy dinner for the kids, So, really at this point, who cares? Harry Maguire looked good. Wan-Bissaka looked good. And for United right now, that's all that really matters. That's all that really matters. I think their issues are going to come in midfield. Scott McTominay looked really good the other day. I don't think McTominay is a guy that you want leading your midfield.
No.
Or being like, a starting 11 week in, week out guy. I think he's a good squad player. He's coming around nicely. Pereira, I'm not totally sold on Pereira. Pogba, Denny Green said it. He is who they thought they were. Pogba is one of the most supremely talented players in the world. He can do things that others can only dream of, and he will do them when he is good and ready and feels like it. And you're not going to get much more than whatever he feels like doing. Up front, Rashford has all the talent in the world. Rashford should become a superstar. You still got Martial up there, who I've always been kind of a fan of Martial.
Mm-hmm.
I think he has not been in the proper system for him to thrive. I still don't know if he is, but I think it's got to be better than when he was with Mourinho at this point for him.
Yeah.
Alexis Sanchez he's Alexis Sanchez. I mean, we'll see what happens. I don't know what else to say for him. But he's just. Let's put it this way: if Sanchez scored 4 goals this year and was injured for most of the year, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
If Sanchez scored 18 goals and had 8 assists, I wouldn't be surprised at this point. So there's just anything from him, I think, is just gravy at this point with what they're paying him. I think long term, I don't think United, and we'll get to this obviously in our preview, I don't think United are really set to make a run long term with this team.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they could have some weeks where they look really impressive. I think they could have some weeks where if they get snowballing on a team, they're going to win some 4-0, 5-1 matches. So, and I think they just caught Chelsea. They caught Chelsea at a really good time. Lampard's first match in the Premier League. Chelsea unsettled. N'Golo Kante out. I think they really caught him at a perfect time, and it was a really good win for United to start the season. I don't think this is a sign of things to come for United.
Absolutely. I agree with you. I was impressed for the most part with how Maguire and Wan-Bissaka played. I thought they were very good. I think a lot of people talked about how Chelsea was kind of running the game a little bit. And talked about, if Abraham doesn't hit the post, it's a completely different match. And I'm like, yeah, but he also got that shot off on kind of a freak bounce. So I don't take that away from the United defense that he was able to get that good of a look. But it is what it is. I do think United are maybe... I think and we'll get to this in the preview a little bit more, I think they might be the best of the next 3. I think they might be wildly inconsistent sometimes this year, but I think all 3 of those other 3 are going to be like that. But I think at the end of the day, United has enough quality overall in that team to be the best of the 3. That said, this is also United, and Solskjaer could be gone in January, and everything could just get blown up. So who knows? But we'll talk more about that in our season preview that comes one weekend. Second match of 3 we'll talk about is the City match, and again we can talk just a little bit about this. VAR getting introduced, and even I guess we can kind of really pair this with the Liverpool talk for their match against Norwich. 2 teams so dominant last season. 98 and 97 points respectively in the Premier League. Liverpool winning the Champions League. City winning the 2 domestic cups. Them coming together in the Community Shield, which was a lot of us like to joke that, the Super Cup and the Community Shield, that they're basically just glorified friendlies. There wasn't a whole lot friendly about that Community Shield match between Liverpool and City. This is starting to be a bit of a, dare I bring back a word from a long forgotten place. This might get a little chippy, Wes Bradshaw.
Oh my goodness, it's definitely becoming an affair when they meet.
So knowing that and seeing Liverpool, and I know you're going to talk some about this match and about the injury that happened in it. Liverpool coming out 4-1 to start the season and immediately get answered by City with a 5-0. I mean, I said it before, and I know it's a little bit of a cliche, but these two teams really do look, for the most part, like they're just picking right up from where they finished off the last season.
They were. Liverpool maybe a little unlucky not to win this situation. Kyle Walker had one of those moments where, maybe if it had been something other than the Community Shield,
yeah.
if that had been a Premier League match or if that had been a Champions League match, I mean, that would have been one of the all-timer plays maybe. It looked like Mo Salah had won it in regulation, and then Walker acrobatically cleared it off the line. Liverpool had another one that came off the crossbar that, goal line technology rule did not cross. That seems to be a theme, unfortunately, for Liverpool recently. City dominated the first half of that match. And then Liverpool came out in the second half, and for about 20 minutes just absolutely ran that match up one side, down the other. Once again, maybe a little unlucky not to win it in regulation. But then they go to penalties. As we know, anything can happen in penalties. And it did. By now, the missing his penalty. Everybody else puts theirs in. And Manchester City lift the Community Shield. At the end of the day, it sucked not to win it as a Liverpool fan. You can always say, "Oh, who gives a crap?" Well, when you get into the match, hell, you might as well go to win. It was like today. I was looking at live updates today on the match, and there's people commenting, "Oh, screw it, just go ahead and lose. Who cares?" We don't care. I'm like, wait a minute, this thing is tied in extra time. Why throw it away now? This is stupid. Just try to win the damn match. If you're there, try to win. Liverpool gave it a shot. I do believe that Liverpool overall were maybe the better team on the day. Mm-hmm. But you know what? At the end of the day, the team who deserved it won. City deserved it. As a Liverpool fan, I came out very happy with the second half, especially from my club. I saw a lot of the Liverpool from last season. A little bit of game sharpness here and there is going to only improve that. But give it up to City, man. They raised the Community Shield for another season. So good on them. They pick up where they left off, which is picking up trophies. Mm-hmm. They win all the domestic shit. Liverpool wins the European shit. There we go. Yeah.
But now, as for the Premier League matches, what did you take away from Liverpool and City both having their dominating performances?
Both are supremely talented up front and midfield. They both completely overwhelmed the teams they were playing. They both had it wrapped up by halftime, pretty much. Both of them, their big guns were going. Raz with a hat trick, probably should have had more. Mo Salah was just unstoppable on the day for Liverpool. Those fullbacks throwing balls into the box and wreaking havoc like they do. Defensively, Liverpool were definitely not at their best. The obvious moment that sticks out in the match, Alisson having to be taken off due to a calf strain, which for about 24 hours we were all covering, thinking it was going to be a torn Achilles. Mm-hmm. We all had visions of Kevin Durant in our head, mm-hmm. and ends up he's going to miss 6 to 8 weeks, mm-hmm. And probably be back in October. But man, that's a hell of a lot better than seeing him next August.
Yeah. And it was it was not funny, but it was a little humorous that I had texted you in a joking way about how a lot of people were complaining about the lack of Liverpool signings over the summer. And then you commented back with, "Hey, we signed Adrian, excuse me." And then about 20 minutes later, Adrian had to come onto the pitch.
He did. And after getting to watch him today in the Super Cup, that may have been our most astute signing in a long time.
Hey, it's not Simon Mignolet, so there you go.
He did a great job in the Super Cup today. I thought he did a nice job against Norwich. for literally being signed like 4 days before the match. I mean, he's not Allison. That's the thing. He's not Allison. He's not that mountain in the face of goal who's a shot stopper. Plus, I mean, let's just throw it there. Allison right now might be the best goalkeeper in the world.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, his trophy case right now is backing it up. But for Adrian to come in and not look out of place and just not look nervous. I think the problem with Mignolet was it's not that Simon Mignolet was a bad goalkeeper, but there were enough bad moments in the memory bank of him and Liverpool fans that we were never going to be like, oh, hey, we got Mignolet. It was never going to be a comfort level with Mignolet, no matter what he did. It just, old wounds sometimes don't heal. And that's how it was. Adrian comes in. He's doing some really good things early. Had the big save today, obviously, in the penalty shootout. I think it's an upgrade at the backup keeper position. And he's going to get a chance. Mignolet's going to be kicked. Last year, got in 2 matches for 2 cups that were done with them. And now, literally days after he leaves, now the new guy's going to get an extended run of the team. So, just one of those little ironic things for Mignolet. As you know, he was sitting up in Bruges just going, God, shit me. However they say that in Flemish, I don't know. But, Adrian coming on and immediately to the fold. And great stat, the man has literally played 1 game in Europe in his career and has lifted a European trophy.
It's crazy.
Yeah, obviously he's, man, myth, legend. He's Adrian. But yeah, Adrian against Norwich did a good job. And he's just got to keep it up going forward at this point for Liverpool. On the City side, I mean, once again, I was impressed with what City did because I think West Ham's going to be a pretty good team this year, and they just kind of swatted them away easily. I don't foresee any issue with City starting their season off hot like they usually do. The one thing I'm gonna keep my eye on for City this season overall in their entire campaign is, Pep Guardiola is a manager who demands so much from his squads. Mm-hmm. He doesn't look at the schedule and say, oh, well, you know what, this is a match we can kind of coast in this maybe, and if we lose, oh well, no big deal. Pep Guardiola goes out with the goal and the intention of winning every single match and every single trophy. And now this is year 4 for Pep. And, after a while, that kind of intensity, I mean, we've seen it in different sports in different places. After a while, that level of intensity can kind of wear on a team.
Oh, yeah. I think that was Josie's problem to an extreme degree.
Yeah. Now, Josie, on the other hand, Josie brought a lot of problems on himself because Josie just couldn't shut up.
Oh, for sure.
And Josie, chucked his players under the bus way too damn much. Yeah. Pep's not going to do that.
True.
But, you wonder, right now, at this point of the year, all right, intensity's up, here we go, we're beating the shit out of people. What's City going to do, come around February, March, when at this point, we'll say for the 3rd straight season, they're in the League Cup, they're in the FA Cup, they're in the knockout round of the Champions League. They're playing for the Premier League, and for the 3rd straight season, Pep's going pedal to the metal with these guys. Mm-hmm. Not that it's a bad thing to want to go out and win all the trophies. I mean, obviously, hell, that's what you're here for, is to win the trophies, right? Mm-hmm. But, sometimes no matter how good of intentions, man, that intensity, you can only go so hard for so far.
Right.
And, we'll just see if there's going to be a hiccup again this year. Last year there was a hiccup, but then they turned around and didn't lose a game in the entirety of 2019. Didn't lose a point.
Yeah.
I just don't know anybody can keep. I mean, you can't possibly go 38 wins for the season, can they?
Let's not tempt fate.
Seriously, let's not tempt fate. I mean, 198 points over 2 years. Sooner or later, something's got to give. You've got to come out of the pack just a little bit. So we'll see if this is the year that it happens.
That we will. And they will be right back in action this coming weekend as we get you set for week 2 of the Premier League. This Saturday starting at 7:30, Arsenal versus Burnley at the Emirates. Then at 10 o'clock, you have your choice of Villa versus Bournemouth, Everton versus Watford, Southampton versus Liverpool. Liverpool B versus Liverpool, Norwich City versus Newcastle, Brighton and Hove versus West Ham. It hasn't been that way for a while. And then 12:30 match of the week, City versus Tottenham. Tottenham's first big test, as well as City's, as they embark on their new Premier League journeys this year. Then at 9 a.m. on Sunday, you have Sheffield United versus Palace. 11:30, Chelsea versus Leicester. That could actually be very big for both those clubs. Leicester with a tough draw out at the gate. And then at 3 o'clock, Wolves versus United. Could Wolves pull off the upset over the high-flying United? We shall see as we take a look at the table through 1 week. Manchester City in a not unfamiliar spot sit at top of it with their goal differential. They are level on points with United, Liverpool, Brighton, Burnley, Tottenham, and Arsenal. And then at the bottom, still with 0 points through 1 week, are Newcastle, Aston Villa, Norwich, Southampton, Watford, Chelsea, and West Ham. West Ham, poor West Ham. They're not going to start as slow this year, but yeah, starting with City, not fun for them. So
they just had the wrong damn team week 1.
Exactly.
I think anybody who had them was week 1.
Brutal. So Wes, let's get to it. That was our week discussion. So let's get into the predictions. Let's start with your. If you want to go first, let's start with your bottom. We're gonna do the bottom 4 and the top 7. So in whatever order you want to go in with that, let's hear what you got.
Oh man, that bottom 3 is always bottom 4 is always so interesting. But out of all the teams that came up, made the leap, I'm gonna have to go with the one who actually got the one. I think Sheffield's going to be heading back down.
Okay.
I just don't believe they've got quite enough in the old gun barrel to keep them up for a season. It's been an amazing story for them. I mean, they were in the 3rd or 4th division of English football just a few years ago, and they've just gone on a promotion binge, gotten themselves up. Sheffield is one of those classically popular English towns and teams, and yeah, hopefully for them they'll be. I would like to see Sheffield be able to make a stronghold in the Premier League. I just don't quite believe this is going to be the year for it to happen yet. So I'm picking Sheffield to go down. Just spoiler on this, I'm picking the other 2 to stay up.
Oh, okay.
So yeah. So
we have some differences. This is good. I like this.
Yeah, this is good. This is what we do. This is where we have fun. I'm picking Brighton and Hove to go down. And it all looks bad because kick the shit out of Southampton, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think they kicked the shit out of Southampton. Well, I don't think that's going to continue. I think they're going to take the tumble down this year. I don't like some of the moves they made. I don't, letting Chris Hughton go, I'm still not the biggest fan of. I don't think they replace him with anyone great. I think they're taking the tumble. And after that, I think this is one that will probably come back and bite me in the butt. I think Burnley are going to go down.
Ooh, that's not a bad call. Yeah.
I think Burnley are going to go down. It seemed like they put so much into that run a couple seasons ago, and since then, everything's just kind of coming up crap for them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're talented enough. I think, no, I'm not saying I get rid of them right now. I think maybe after this season, especially if they go down, I think it might be time to move on from Sean Dyche.
Yeah.
Just maybe freshen up, maybe try something a little different. And I think Sean Dyche might be ready for a new challenge as well. But I think they're going to go down this season. First team staying up, last team staying up, I guess we'll say. I think it's going to be Norwich.
Okay.
I was impressed with Norwich the other day. They play a very up-tempo style of football, which, now here's the caveat, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be very difficult for them to stay up this season.
Mm-hmm.
They are going to, and I think they're going to have to front load on their schedule, try to get as many points as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Because unless they're able to go out and refresh and strengthen some in January, the style of play that they do play in the Premier League is going to be really hard to maintain.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, they want to play like Liverpool, but the difference is, Liverpool are the 6-time champions of Europe, because I had to throw that in.
There it is.
There it is. And Liverpool have, arguably the best starting 11 in the world. Norwich do not have that.
No, not quite.
But, you did see against Liverpool the other day that they are, they're an exciting team.
Max Aarons is pretty good.
Yeah. They're going to have some days, I think, go off the park.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. I've got a feeling for them. I think they're going to do just enough to stay up this season.
Mm-hmm.
And if they can do it, with their style of play, maybe that's a team that next year, if they stay in the Premier League, they're able to go and re-strengthen and maybe help establish themselves. Because, this is Norwich. They've been here.
Mm-hmm.
They've done this. They've stuck around for a while at times. That's my bottom four.
Okay.
I think Norwich is going to make it. Burnley, Brighton, Sheffield, I think, are going to take the tumble this.
All right. I'll go ahead and give my bottom four then, and then we'll do both of our top sevens. I only have two of the same teams in this bottom four area, and none of them match up. My last place team is Norwich. I think for the reasons you mentioned of their play style, I think that's going to get them killed. They might be the most entertaining 20th place team we will ever see in the Premier League. They might just end up being like a worse version of Bournemouth, where they play like this very kind of high octane offensive style, and they just don't have the quality to back up that play style in the Premier League. In the Championship, it's fine, but not in the Premier League. But I think they will be very entertaining. I think they will finish last. 19th, I think, is going to be Aston Villa. I watched the game on Saturday. They're okay. Nothing about them outside of a little bit of Jack Grealish really strikes me as a team that's going to stay up. I think the one thing they have going for them is, if this is going to be, I think, a very interesting Premier League this season, because we talk a lot about the bleak mid-table, a lot of times hat tip men and Blazers, but I think this year we actually have a lot of really good teams. Even like you were mentioning, West Ham might not finish in the top 8 and still be considered really good. Wolves, Watford, Leicester, all these teams, are really good and are probably going to finish outside the top 7. I think the top half, maybe even like top 12 of this league, is really good, but I think the rest is really bad. Like the bottom third to almost half of this league is going to be very, very, very bad. And I think Aston Villa is part of that. And my 18th and last team taking the drop, I think it's Crystal Palace. Sorry, Bex. I think getting rid of their best defender in Wan-Bissaka was a problem. I don't know how unsettled Wilf Zaha is going to be after not getting his move out from the club this summer. And that's your two best players from last year's team. One's gone, one wants to be gone. We love Woy. I don't think Woy's going to make it through December. I think Palace is going to take the drop this year. I think they were pretty bad last year, but had a decent enough run at one point to stay up, and I don't think that's coming this year. I just don't think they have it. I think they're going to finish 18th, and then 17th is going to be Sheffield United. I think they're going to stay up. I think they have just enough in them to stay up, and it's going to be so close. Like, we might be talking like 28 points might be staying up this year. Who knows? So I don't think there's some very bad teams in the Premier League, I think. I might be proven wrong. I'm an idiot, so who knows? I think the Premier League is at on one part of the table, maybe the best it's ever been, and on the other end, very, very bad. Very bad. I think those top table teams are going to rack up a ton of points against the bottom this year. So, but let's talk about that top then, Wes. What is your top 7?
My top 7. 7th place, Chelsea Football Club.
Yes! He's getting freaky. I like it. Yes!
I talked about earlier, very unimpressed with Chelsea. I think the fact that Tammy Abraham is leading the line as a recipe for disaster. Giroud is still maybe the best guy to do it, but I really like Giroud as my backup striker.
Oh, yeah.
It might be that for Chelsea, but damn it. I mean, that means you got to have a good front striker, and they don't.
Mm-hmm.
I think defensively, this team is just waiting to absolutely fall apart. I like what I saw from Kepa today.
Mm-hmm.
Kepa kept Liverpool from kind of running away with that Super Cup.
Mm-hmm.
Even though Liverpool did not play a good first half, Kepa really held everything together. Not impressed with their midfield. I hate to say I'm not impressed with Frank Lampard. I think it's too damn early, man. God, the guy's got 1 year and you're throwing him into the and not only that, you're doing inside anybody.
Yeah.
Oh man. I mean that's just a recipe, I think, for disaster. So Chelsea Football Club. I think you got a 7th place finish in your future. 6th place, and this is the difficult one, and I had them until near the end of the transfer window, but I think the Brugge and Leicester City.
Wow, we're going to be pretty close.
Going to find themselves a Europa spot this year. I think they're going to finish in 6th. Obviously, if they had kept Harry Maguire, I think this would have been. I really could have nailed them on for that. But I think it's a very young, very exciting, very talented team, and I think that's the kind of team that Brendan Rodgers really likes.
Mm-hmm.
Rodgers likes young players that he can mold, that he can do things with. And look, Brendan Rodgers. Yes, we all love to give Brendan. At the end of the day, Liverpool. That's maybe not Brendan Rodgers' level, but Brendan Rodgers is a guy who can guide a team into the top half of the Premier League, and I think can make a run when given the right resources. So I'm going to take another year of the Jamie Vardy part. I think Maddison's going to have another year. I think he's going to get even better this year. Probably, there's a good chance this will be his last year at Leicester.
Mm-hmm.
I think Ryan Maddison's going to have a big year. I like what they've done defensively, even without Harry Maguire. I think Leicester is going to crash our party up there. Which brings us to probably the most difficult decision of it all. 4th and 5th. Who's going to get that last Champions League spot? Oh, man. I have gone so far back and forth on this. All right, I'm going to do it. 5th place, Manchester United. Excuse me. Just because of what we talked talent, they've got good players.
Mm-hmm.
My God, you just don't know when they're going to melt down.
Yeah.
Pogba is still like a knife that hangs by a thread.
I mean, he was still saying after the match, what did he say?
He's still talking.
Yeah, I forgot exactly what he said, but he made dumbass quotes after the match. It's like, whatever. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm just thinking and agreeing with you there. You know, and the thing is, at this point in the window, with the United would be insane to sell Pogba at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how could you? You can't replace him with anything. You didn't get anybody in for him. Can't replace him. I think United are 5th by default. I don't quite think the Leicester, Wolves, Everton, West to ascend to that level yet. I think Chelsea's taken a big step back this year. And I think United's going to find themselves in 5th. They're going to be battling out. They'll be battling out to the end of the season, I think, with my 4th place team, the Arsenal. And Arsenal are going to just be, they should be so damn entertaining in 4th this year. God, I mean, they are super going all in on Roger style, which is, well, we can't stop them, so let's outscore them. I don't give a shit about Newcastle. I mean, that's what it is. Wow, you got a shutout. By the way, with that, Arsenal have already equaled their away shutout number from last year.
Oh, my God. God.
Good for them. I don't think that's really a harbinger of things to come.
Mm-hmm.
But, God, that front line of Lacazette and Aubameyang by themselves, that's really good.
Mm-hmm.
You had Pepe, and if Nicolas Pepe hits the ground running in the Premier League, it's going to be a scary proposition when Arsenal's coming forward at you. I think Arsenal have gotten worse in midfield. Obviously, the loss of Aaron Ramsey that doesn't help. Whatever you want to say, that doesn't help.
Mm-hmm.
And at the back, it's got all the makings of just being a damn train wreck at the back. To lose, or I mean, to gain as your big signing, David Luiz. Oh, holy shit, man! A guy who doesn't realize central defender.
Yeah.
Kieran Tierney, we'll see. He's hurt.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you bought a guy who's hurt, who's got to play his way back in shape and then figure out what you're doing, blah, 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 blah. Whew. Arsenal, they're going to put a shit ton of goals up, but I think they're going to they're shipping 50. I think they're shipping 50 plus, and they'll probably score 80 plus.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's going to be a lot of 3-2, 4-3 matches with them. And I'm not saying what side they're going to come out on. Number 3, Tottenham Hotspur.
Yeah. 3rd place, baby.
I think Tottenham have improved from last season.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Christian Eriksen before this transfer window closes.
Yep.
I think in the transfer market, all the great work that Tottenham did, I think they're still one midfielder short on what they wanted in the transfer market.
Mm-hmm.
Eriksen can be that midfielder, but the problem that Tottenham are running into with Eriksen is, do you cash in or do you let him run it down?
Mm-hmm.
Get nothing back for him. I think I've heard there's a rift right now between Eriksen and Pochettino because Pochettino. So why am I going to start him early? And Eriksen's kind of pissed like, why aren't you playing me? So you kind of hope that doesn't blow up on him. And Ndombele looks like he's going to be phenomenal. I mean, he's come right in, hit the ground running. Lo Celso is going to take a little bit of time to blood in. But, I mean, I think that's a really good signing for the 10 spot. I think you might have actually dodged a bullet by Paulo Dybala.
Yeah.
I mean, as great a player as he could be, a little bit of an ego and selfishness there.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a guy who, can't figure out why he's having to play second fiddle to Cristiano Ronaldo. So, it's like, I mean, dude, if you don't get it, I don't know what to tell you at this point. But, at the back, At the back, I think Tottenham still have a few question marks at the back.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're as strong as they've been in the past. But I think they can potentially be super, super good in midfield. I think they've got a really good attack. And coming off last season, I think they've got a belief that maybe Tottenham haven't had in the past. Last season they did lose quite a few matches, but they won some big matches and making a run to the European final. I mean, that can't do anything to help them. And once again, Ndombele, I think, is a huge pickup. I think he might be the signing of the season in the Premier League.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he could be a difference. I think they closed the gap this year. And I think they do that because, like you said, there are points to be taken off the bottom of the league, especially this year. I think they're going to close the gap. I just don't think they're good enough to get to my second place team, Liverpool Football Club.
What? Holy shit! That's a twist. That's twisty.
Jesus Christ! I'm sick to my stomach for uttering those words out.
Oh.
I mean, there have been seasons where we're nowhere near as good as we are this year, and I've gone all in.
Yes.
Oh man. I'm not going to say Liverpool can't win the Premier League this year. They absolutely can. I just think a lot of Liverpool's depth in some key places is unproven. A lot of it is based on we think this guy can be super good and we're going to give him an early chance. I'm talking about Ryan Brewster. I'm talking about Kajana Hoover on the outside. I'm talking about the African kid we have who's playing left back, who's probably going to be our backup left back. Lascella. Can I remember? I don't have his name in front of me. I'm thinking, we're almost at a point where once again we're relying on James.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point, that's just not going to work. Now that said, it is very difficult for Liverpool to improve on the squad they have.
Sure, absolutely.
And here's my reason. It's not a money issue. Oh, they don't want to spend money. No. That's not the issue. Who are you going to get who can come in and is going to push the starting 11? I said earlier, and I'll stick with it, Liverpool may have the best starting 11 in the world. That can be argued, especially in midfield. But I think up front, across their back four, and at goalkeeper, I think they're the best in the world. People are throwing, well, why didn't you sign Pepe? Pepe don't want to come and sit behind the three up front.
Yeah.
Instead he signed with Arsenal, which, that's a little step down as a team, but he's still in the same league. He's still going to make huge money, and he's going to get to play nearly every match. At Liverpool, he was rotating with the front three. Mm-hmm. No one is displacing Salah, Mane, and Firmino. That group together, you might be able to make an upgrade on one of them, but that group is just perfect together. As a great friend of the show, Thanos likes to say, they're perfectly balanced.
As all things should be.
As all things should be. And so who's getting into that? So therefore, why am I going to go spend £50 million on a guy who squad?
Yeah.
So, they look around. Well, we re-signed Divock Origi. I love re-signing Origi. I think he's a guy who can score 15 goals. Mm-hmm. He's not one of the front three, but he is a plan B guy. You bring back Shaqiri. You bring Brewster up. Brewster, to me, effectively replaces Daniel Sturridge. Mm-hmm. Sturridge won't pull up trees last year. He had a couple of great goals when they happened, and then he didn't do shit the rest of the year. Brewster can do the same thing, probably do more. Brewster is more built as a future replacement to Roberto Firmino, which is a player that, once again, you're not finding a Firmino clone on the market anywhere. Mm-hmm. As for midfield, I think that Klopp, I think he looked at his midfield, and he looked at it as, we more thrust going forward. Well, guess what? I've got Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain and hopefully Keita both healthy coming in this season. You know, from basically playing truncated to non-existent seasons a year ago. Why am I going to go buy Bruno Fernandes when I've got these two guys?
Mm-hmm.
Who, you know, one of them I bought in Naby Keita, you know, is supposed to be the next big thing. And the other one, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, when he was hit a season ago, was showing that, you know, this is an England international players at his position in the Premier League when he's healthy. Why am I going to go spend money for the sake of money to try to upgrade on that? Jordan Henderson and the role we saw him at late in the season was fantastic. Fabinho is arguably the best defensive mid in the league, arguably. The back four, like we said, is what they are. Wijnaldum stepping up last season. I mean, these are guys who won the European Cup and scored 97 points in the league this year. There was not a lot to improve on with what was available out there, if you ask me.
Sure.
I like the pickups we made. I like the Van. But they're two for the future who are going to be involved in the first team because they're potentially that good.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, that's what you kind of had to do. Dejan Lovren might be gone before the transfer window's over. If he is, that means that Klopp is comfortable with Vandenberg possibly being able to cover at central defense if they have to. Like I said, man, my thing that has them in second, I believe that Liverpool are rolling the dice with what I just talked about. Huge potential players who either aren't proven yet or their fitness is not completely proven yet.
Mm-hmm.
An extended injury to one of the front three could knock Liverpool out of the Premier League race. But once again, I don't see where they were going to get anyone to come in better than what they had.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a catch-22 for Jurgen Klopp. Now, yeah, Jurgen thrilled because now he gets to coach these guys. He's got these players who have played for him now. He doesn't have to blood in someone and take 3 months to get them onto the field.
Mm-hmm.
That's the other thing. We've seen that at Liverpool. It took Fabinho forever to get on the field. It took Andy Robertson forever to get on the field. You know, the only two guys really who walked straight. Well, think about it. Salah walked straight in, Mane walked straight in. But out of the last few years, the only guys who really walked straight into the team were Alisson and Virgil van Dijk.
Mm-hmm.
So, Jurgen Klopp, he's excited with what he's got this season. Like I said, I think the only thing that can derail Liverpool injuries and if the what-ifs don't stack up with the injuries.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be injuries up front or at fullback that kill Liverpool this season if they so happen. So, and the team I picked to win it. And with that, Ed Green just died. Oh, wait. My bad. Wrong paper. Manchester City's going to win the freaking.
Hey, there it is.
Because, that's just unfortunately what they do. I was going to see how long you were going to just keep that silence going. Yeah.
Stunned.
Just stunning. Stunning and brave, Ed. Don't forget both. Stunning and brave. Or brave and stunning, however we want to talk about things. We talked about, it's that intensity Pep Guardiola brings. They are going to stack points early. I said it earlier, my worry for them in that season when the lull comes, and will they have enough if they're in another tight race. If them and Liverpool are head to head, once again, March, April, and May, both of them still in the Champions League, or one of them knocked out of the Champions League, or let's just say, let's say this year City makes a run, Liverpool get knocked out of the Champions League around the 16. Now you're going head to head down the stretch. You're trading points. You're trading places. Are City just going to have left in reserve to be able to kick up and show up every single week like they did this past season when they had to win, not draw, not get a result. They had to win every single week in the year 2019 to win the Premier League, to hold Liverpool. I don't know if they'll be able to do that again.
Sure.
But at this point, I can't bet against them, man. No one's ever won the Premier League 3 straight seasons. City, I'm picking them to be the first team that does it. I hate it. It pisses me off. It hurts me deeply. You know it. But I had to do what I had to do, and that was fun.
So that is Wes's top 7. Mine is going to look remarkably similar now, actually. I do have Chelsea in 7th. I think they lost so much with Eden Hazard that you can't replicate it. And with him gone, and like you say, you mentioned Olivier Giroud. I think in a lot of ways he can be Chelsea's Divock Origi. I think they bring enough of a change up off the bench to be great goal scorers for their clubs. But I mean, he's starting the Super Cup today, and if Abraham doesn't work, he's the starter. So I would be very nervous if I'm Chelsea if that's their attacking options going forward. And I'm going to say Leicester is in 6th. I think Everton is very close. If Wolves weren't in Europa, I would actually probably have put them there. I am just scared to death of what a Europa run that is still at this moment going on could lead to them, lead to happening for them. But we'll see how that turns out. So I'm gonna pick Leicester without those European commitments. 5th place, I'm gonna put Arsenal. This is where we differ. This is where we're gonna differ. I'm gonna put Arsenal 5th, United 4th, and I do think that's very coin flippy. I think United has a chance overall with these signings they made. I think they actually addressed their issues in a better way than Arsenal did. And I think they have a chance to be better. But just like I said about 20 minutes ago, this team could actually just blow up and just go to hell. So if that happens, I don't know where United actually ends up. But if it doesn't, I do think the quality is there for them to be at least 4th place. I think they could be very good this year. I think they're better than Arsenal overall. 3rd, absolutely Spurs. I think you hit the nail on the head. I think they're going to be better this year. They could even get to like 83, 84 points and feel super happy and still be 10 points off 2nd place. And then at that point, you just say, well, what more can we really do with this group at this point? We're having one of our best stretches as a club in the entire history of our time in the top flight, and it's coinciding with maybe the first and potentially 2nd greatest runs we've seen from teams. So, it is what it is. But I do think Spurs are going to be even better than last year. I do think holding on to Toby. It looks like I don't think Alderweireld's going anywhere. I think being able to rotate him and Vertonghen and Sanchez as a rotating 3-back pair of center backs, I think will be really good. Sissoko, we didn't even talk about Sissoko. And yes, he missed another sitter in front of goal. But besides that, against Villa, he looks so good again. Sissoko is... it's amazing how far this guy's come from being somebody we bought with so much hope from Newcastle to completely being a bust to getting reinvigorated and being a key part of this club again. And I think with him, Ndombele, Winks, and guys like that in the midfield, and then Dyer still having to come back from injury, I think that's going to be great. Sessegnon coming over from Fulham, I think could be very, very good, and Poch loves to play his wing backs, so that looks like where Sessegnon can fit right in eventually once he gets healthy. And then Lo Celso looks really good. Lo Celso looks really, really good from his time overseas, and we'll see if he can acclimate himself to the Premier League as well. And hey, Kane's already on the score sheet. So how many goals can Harry Kane score if he stays healthy and scores in August? 60? 70? We'll have to find out. What a one-season wonder. And then, yeah.
Same with Salah, both one season.
Absolutely. The best one-season wonders ever. I have Liverpool 2, City 1. I don't see a logical, this makes sense world where Liverpool overtakes City. That doesn't mean it can't happen. Hey, we're going to get to in news and notes an injury. We talked about one for Liverpool. Hey, there's a City injury too that could be pretty big going forward. I do think City they just have this level of depth that most clubs, including Spurs, including Liverpool, simply don't have. And there's some very good players that did not start for either Liverpool or Spurs on the weekend. You mentioned Christian Eriksen. Dele didn't even play because he was coming back from an injury. Son didn't play because he was suspended. And then the guys you mentioned for Liverpool, I believe Naby Keita didn't play because of an injury for Liverpool to start the season. So there is some quality there, but City's depth is on another level, I think. And that, to me, is more than anything, along with Pep's insane drive to always win everything, is what can keep pushing them forward. I think it's going to be so close again. It wouldn't shock me if Liverpool wins the Premier League. It really wouldn't. But until someone dethrones City, I can't bet against them. I just can't do it. So I'm putting City 1, Liverpool 2, Spurs 3, United 4. Those are my Champions League spots for the year. And I think it's going to be a hell of a race again. We might see Liverpool win 37 matches and City win 38. Or no, actually that can't be true.
Well, yeah, it can. I mean, Liverpool could win 37, lose one.
Yeah.
No, because they'd have to lose two.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. So it's City. God.
Well, are you telling me we could see a team lose one for?
Yeah.
Oh wait, that just happened.
Yeah, we're gonna see a team lose 2 matches over the course of 2 years in the Premier League and win 0 titles. That's what's gonna happen. Oh man, that's our Premier League predictions. I'm sure some of them will be right and some of them will be very, very wrong. Mwah, chef's kiss.
Who wasn't on? Mikey might use that prediction. Sure to go wrong.
Yeah. Well, let's hit the news and notes now. As we head on through that, the injury I mentioned is to a guy who some during the summer didn't even figure would be at City at this point, but he still is. Just won't be playing for them possibly this year. Leroy Sané does have an ACL injury that he suffered during the Community Shield against Liverpool, and he will be having surgery on that before he can start his rehabilitation. I mean, he could be out for months, potentially the entire season. And Wes, I do have a feeling that maybe City was potentially preparing for life without Leroy Sané, with talks of him moving to Bayern Munich. But this is still a guy that, when his head is right and when he's healthy, is a humongous part of the Manchester City offense.
I want to say, and I'm pulling this stat off the top of my head, maybe Sané over the last 2 seasons is maybe like second in goals, assists per minute in the Premier League.
I actually think you're right.
And I mean, and then the fact that he doesn't even play that much this past year.
Yeah.
I mean, it's insane, man. Whatever the beef between him and Pep Guardiola, it shows the absolute depth of the Manchester City team, where they can take one of the absolute best young players in the world, basically put him out in the pasture to alienate him, and still go on and win the league. Well, Leroy Sané is fantastic. I would God, we almost had him at Liverpool too. I would kill to have Leroy Sané on my wing at Liverpool. I mean, it'd be magnificent. I think Sané. I think if Sané goes pretty much to any team in the world, he's one of their top players.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he walks into Munich, he's probably the best player in Bayern.
Yeah.
He walks into Real, he's one of the absolute best players at Real.
Mm-hmm.
I think if Madrid had the chance that they could have gotten Sané, well, I'll take it back because Madrid's Madrid and they look at different things other than just, who can play.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I would take Sané over Hazard myself.
Interesting. Okay.
But apparently Sané has an attitude problem because it's Pep and Jurgen Löw who have been like, all right, look, you got to go sit the hell to him.
Yeah.
So if Sané can get his shit under control, man, I mean, you're talking about a world superstar.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So we will see that, but that is definitely somebody who does not look to be in City's plans for the season as they look to become, as Wes mentioned earlier, the first 3-time in a row winners of the Premier League. Our last news and notes, and hey, we've been talking a lot about the women's game this last couple weeks because stories keep popping up. Kate Markgraf is going to become the first ever general manager of the U.S. women's national team. She's going to be in charge of scheduling and hiring the next coach after Jill Ellis leaves in about a month or so. She had been a broadcaster for ESPN and, of course, was a player for the U.S. women's national team as well. Hey, I think this is a great hire. She's always been very, very well spoken on television. It's good that the women's side of things is getting more women into places of power. And hopefully, hey, maybe she can even slap some sense into U.S. Soccer's Carlos Cordero and get the whole pay dispute settled. But enough about something we talk about almost every week. On a serious note, this is I think a great hire, and she has a chance to really stamp her name on this team with whoever she gets as the managerial pick to lead this team as they try to defend their title yet again in a couple years of the World Cup.
Absolutely. I love the Kate Markgraf hire.
Mm-hmm.
I listen to her a lot on ESPN. She did a lot of the coverage for the Women's World Cup this year.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's very intelligent, really knows what's going on, has her finger really on the pulse of United States football.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a magnificent hire. I don't think they could have really done better at this point. She seems to be outspoken. She's opinionated. She seems like she's going to be going to bat for her squad, and that's big time, man. That's all you want at the top is somebody who's going to go to bat for you, who's going to go to war for you. And I think U.S. women's soccer is in a very good spot going forward because you know what, there is going to be some big turnover because as we mentioned before, this was an older U.S. team that just won the title. So it's a big job coming up for Kate Markgraf and whoever is the next manager of the United States.
Absolutely. So we wish her all the best of luck and look forward to seeing who she picks to be the head coach of the U.S. women's team going forward and seeing how they do. So that is your news and notes for the week.
Spoiler, Jose Mourinho's out there.
Poach him from Sky Sports right away. Oh, I love it. I love the idea. Oh, man, that's great. By the way, because we don't plug them enough, The Athletic has started their Premier League coverage. It's fantabulous. It's so friggin' good. Shockingly, something on The Athletic is good.
If you weren't already reading The Athletic just religiously, get better.
That's from Michael Cox's articles where he really just breaks down things coming from zonal marking, to just the individual team articles. Jack Pitbrook is already doing a great job as the Spurs correspondent. I forget exactly who. I know there's 2 Liverpool correspondents, but I just
James Pierce.
Yes,
is and James Pierce has been correspondent for the Liverpool Echo for the last 5-6 years. I mean, he's the freaking man anyway. And to get him over there, that's just huge. Actually, he was with the Echo for 14 years.
Wow.
So, and he was like the lead Liverpool right? It's like, if it came from James Pierce, you could pretty much, go ahead and bet on it that it was going to be big time. And I believe, no, it's not Melissa Reddy. Melissa Reddy's actually at ESPN now, which is good. That gives Liverpool good coverage on ESPN. But yeah, the Liverpool coverage has been, and that was the one thing that the Athletic took some good soccer coverage. When we would get some soccer coverage, it was really good. It's just we didn't get it very often. So, I mean, until recently, like the very last Liverpool winning the champion.
Mm-hmm.
And then suddenly this dropped, and now it's like, holy shit, now we have. That's great. And the other Premier League teams, they're really good. I mean, the Athletic is a magnificent venture that's been undertaken. And yeah, we're pimping them, and they don't give us anything that could. But hey, guys, I'm coming up for renewal for the next year. Anybody want to throw? Awesome. But, yeah, I mean, from Georgia football to also Red Sox baseball, it's great stuff. And Manny Navarro covers Miami Hurricanes football. It is top shelf stuff on the Athletic.
Yeah, and the whole reason I even got on this was because we brought up Jose Mourinho, and they do these great things on the Athletic. By the way, the comments, for the most part in the Athletic, some of the best user comments you will find on the internet. They're not all great. They're not all winners, but the ratio of idiots and trolls to actually thoughtful people is so much higher on the Athletic than in most places. So, hey, who knows? Who knew if you had to pay for content, you'd get better quality? It's crazy. But somebody commented, there was a talk about Jose Mourinho. Jose Mourinho had made some comments about Mason Mount in his first debut for Chelsea against United. And Lampard, I guess, had something to say about it in his press conference. But somebody in the comments was like, oh, well, Mourinho is that terrible, terrible man. And I was like, yeah, he's that terrible, terrible man we love to see on our television every week. Because, if Josie's popping up, it's appointment television. He's a dick and an asshole, but man, is he fun to watch on TV. Oh, it's just so much better with him there. So, anyway, but yeah, the Athletic is amazing. And that's what we've been reading. But Wes, we hit in the Watch 4. What have you been watching in the week that was or the week that will be?
It has been very period here lately for old Wes, but that doesn't mean that I didn't get Ant-Man and Wasp and Captain Marvel back in this week. And now me, my mother Lynn, now stand on the precipice of Endgame, which comes out. It is still officially Wednesday right now, as we're doing. It's Wednesday the 14th. Tomorrow is Thursday 16th or 15th. Friday the 16th. In-game releases on your DVD, Blu-rays, all that good stuff.
I don't think had she watched Endgame since we last talked, or sorry, Infinity War since we last talked live.
Yes, since we saw yes, so she's seen Infinity War now too.
So now we need to know how did she feel about Infinity War?
Oh, she is she was blown away. My mom has this tendency to watch a movie and knowing she'll just start asking questions. I do my best to just completely ignore her and say words like, just watch, just watch. And when I looked over at her, disintegrating, she just had her mouth open like, oh my God, what's happening? So as far as with Endgame coming up, she has asked, will she cry?
Oh yeah.
I said, there's a very good chance. I said, I did it about 3 points.
Yeah.
She said, well, all I can say is if Iron Man dies, I'm going to cry.
Well.
And I just kind of shook my head. I was like, well, I wouldn't blame you.
Yeah, that's a good answer.
So, we'll see. I may have to film her reactions. I may have to have a camera and just film reactions during in-game.
And remember, they're not all sad tears. There's some happy tears that get shed in that movie.
Yes, there are. So within the last few weeks, they have released enough where people can start putting up YouTube clips from Endgame.
Yes.
So I've watched twice. I've watched my absolute favorite part of maybe movie history, where everyone shows up and walks out of the portal.
All the warriors.
Avengers Assemble, and literally watching it completely cold last week. I'm sitting at my girlfriend's table and like choking up.
Yeah.
It's like I know everything happening here. So I'm just waiting for Tuesday night so I can choke up while I watch it again.
Oh, it's a great scene.
So I mean it's amazing. It's an amazing movie, and I'm ready. It's been 2 months since I've seen it. I'm ready to see it again. I'm ready to see it with an audience who has not seen it.
That's
my
fun.
father. My father still not impressed.
Infinity War didn't get him.
Still has to remind me during the movie. Fake. Thank you.
What? All these people disintegrating is fake? Are you sure?
You mean Thor, the god of thunder, not real? You mean there's not a man with an iron suit who flies around?
You mean there's not a woman who just projects red energy around her and can manipulate space and time? What?
You say so, Pete. Whatever part of Edgecombe County you're from, whatever. So yeah, that's he likes to point out. This is fake. Thank you.
Dynamite drop in.
Dynamite drop in, God. Sorry, everything can't be about plane crash that happened in 1984, which is like all he watches. So.
Oh man.
Yeah, good times. But yeah, man, that's what's coming up. Fall TV is right around the corner.
It's true.
So we'll be obviously talking a little more fall TV as that gets here. Usually kicks off in September. So I know we're both excited about some shows coming back.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll talk about that coming up. But for me, man, it's been the summer of Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
Summer of Marvel. Not to be confused with Summer of George.
Or the Summer of Love.
Or the Summer of Sam.
Yeah, that one too. Thanks, John Leguizamo.
No problem.
My watch for is gonna be pretty short. I mentioned this show I think a couple weeks ago. I'm gonna mention it here because I did manage to get through it. Infinity Train. You know, Wes is talking about Infinity War. I'm talking about Infinity Train. Again, on Cartoon Network. It's 10 episodes long. Each episode is 11 minutes-ish. So it's basically the length of a movie. Not even a Marvel movie. So you can knock it out in an afternoon. That shit goes places. Also, one of the best uses of the song Word Up by Cameo I've ever experienced in any form of media. It's just straight out of left field. Did not expect to be watching a show on Cartoon Network and have my main character singing Word Up by Cameo. And then hearing Word Up by Cameo later on in the show. It's very odd. But yeah, show's amazing. It's if you like your shows that deal with grief and loss and mourning and how to move on with your life, wrapped up in a nice funny package, this is the show for you. It is at times genuinely touching, and I was not expecting it. I just thought, hey, this is a cool concept for a cartoon, I'll watch it. And then I started to feel things, and I didn't expect to feel things in this show. So they have confirmed a season 2. I don't know when it's going to come out. I'm very excited for whenever it does. But yeah, Infinity Train, again, super short, 10, 11-minute episodes. It's great. I highly suggest everyone watches it. It is fantastic. So a lot of emotions get hit up, especially in the second half of that series. But speaking of emotions and getting hit, Wes, let's talk about SummerSlam, I guess.
Let me start by saying everything I heard was a really...
Oh, great.
I mean, I just haven't watched it. I'm sorry, folks. I promise you, when A shot again, It's just when you're disappointed to an extent that I was, sometimes you go off the boil, and that's what happened to me. But let's take a quick rundown the main of SummerSlam. Raw Women's Championship match. Becky Lynch defeated Natalya via submission. Well, her was a big time match, had a big time pop. Goldberg beat Dolph Ziggler because whatever, we had to get Goldberg back for some reason. That was predictable. Apparently, this match was supposed to be like 3 other things, and then just eventually, well, we got Goldberg. Let's put him in. Drake made an appearance because this was in Toronto.
Yay.
Toronto. And wheelchair Jimmy made his way. That said, it was not the Drake that everyone thought it was. Drake Maverick.
Hey, got him.
He got his ass kicked. They got him. United States Championship match. AJ Styles beat Ricochet in an absolutely fantastic match with a magnificent finish to it, apparently. One I had to check out. Bayley defeated Ember Moon to retain her SmackDown Women's Championship. Not a great match. Kevin Owens beat Shane McMahon, and wasn't a great match overall, but emotional match. There's a lot of big story behind it. Charlotte beat Trish Stratus. Trish Stratus making a return. Of course, she is a Canadian hero.
Okay.
She is also a hero of all of us who had America Online back. Because my God, there was nothing better than downloading pictures of Trish Stratus. She is gorgeous then. She's gorgeous now. But that said, she lost to the Nature Hoot. Charlotte. Flair, the WWE Championship. Kofi Kingston versus Randy Orton. Kingston retains via a double countout. It was not a great finish to the match. But it was, I think it was a match with a storyline in it. Maybe seeing a little change in Kofi Kingston, personality-wise. So, could see him going somewhere. A match that was really well received. Bray Wyatt makes his in-ring debut, his new persona, The Fiend. Bray Wyatt has been doing these, segments for about 2 or 3 months now called, Firefly Funhouse.
Okay.
And I'm telling you, it's some shit you might actually be kind of it's so hokey you would probably dig it a little bit.
Uh-huh.
But that was the whole point of it, was being hokey. And it's kind of like a new persona for him. He has the same theme song, which, well, here's the thing. I think he has one of the best theme songs in wrestling history.
Mm-hmm.
And they have taken it, and it's the same song, redone by another artist and in a totally different form that kind of goes with this new extra evil persona.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost it almost sounds like an old mix of this song.
Okay.
So it was good, and he beat Finn Balor, but the Fiend Bray Wyatt, I'm really hoping. Such a big fan, and I felt they never used him right, and I'm hoping maybe this can get the push going forward. Universal Championship match. You want to talk about one that delivered? Seth Rollins defeats Brock Lesnar to win back the Universal Championship. The highlight of this match was a frog splash through a table outside the ring that Rollins dropped on Lesnar. Really good match, apparently. Rollins gets him with a curb stomp at the end, and the Beast goes down, which is something you don't see very often. A clean Brock Lesnar loss.
What?
So, I'll tell you, man, everything I'm hearing is Raw and SmackDown. Like I said, man, just let me get to AEW in October and take a look at it again. But, if I get some time this weekend, maybe I'll check out SummerSlam here. And, just go through it again, kind of see where everything is, try to pick some things up. Folks, I'm not all out on wrestling. I'm not quite all in on wrestling. But I'm going to give it another chance coming up, I promise. The people.
It's a promise that I'm sure you will have no problem keeping. So we will check in about a month and a half see what goes down there in Wrestletown. So, hey, good job, SummerSlam. You weren't a failure. That's what's important. Much like Toronto, you're not a failure. Gotcha again, Canada. But that's going to do it for this episode of the Foreign Affair Podcast. I don't know why we're ending it like that, but that's what we're doing. Once again, thanks to our providers, including NGSC Sports, as well as Alicia's Pillows and Things. You can find them on the social media, as well as us. As a collective, we are at AFA Pod on Twitter. Wes, you are?
I'm at Wes Bradshaw 21.
I am at Edward Green. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube via our parent show, The All New Sports Show. You can also email us at allnewsportsshow@gmail.com. Thanks to all our podcast providers, including Podbean.com, Stitcher, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, the TuneIn Radio app, Google Play Music, and the iTunes Music Store. So big things coming. Week 2 of the Premier League set to happen this weekend. The draw for the Champions League group stage, I think, happens in about 2 weeks from Monaco, I think it is. So we'll be checking that out. League Cup's getting started in a couple weeks. So, hey, we're rolling right into the thick of the next calendar of European football. And it is going to be a doozy, especially if this first week is any indication. So we'll be talking about that next week. But before we get out of here this week, Wes, anything else you'd like to add?
Well, Ed, we had our little Marvel to do every week. I just want to wish from the Foreign Affair Podcast to one of our absolute favorite Marvel stars, a happy birthday to Sebastian Stan. It was actually on Tuesday, August the 13th. He turned 37 years old. He caught me again. I knew we were going to be friends for some reason. We're the same age now, the age of 37. He's in better shape than me. But I'm coming. I'm coming for you, Sebastian. But, a happy birthday to the Winter Soldier, who will have his show coming out sometime very soon on Disney Plus.
Well, we are going to keep standing Mr. Stan. Happy birthday, Mr. Stan, and we look forward to watching you on Disney Plus in the coming months when you and Sam Wilson return to our screens in
I love you, Bucky.
Black Falcon, or is that what it is?
Whoa.
No, what is it?
He's just Falcon.
Well, what's the name of the show? Is it Falcon and the Winter Soldier then?
Yeah, I think so.
I thought there was something that came before his name, though.
Let's look real quick.
It's not Captain Falcon. I know that's something completely different.
It just says Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Oh, it does? Huh.
Yeah, that's all I'm finding at
Where?
the moment.
Okay, that's fine. I'm wrong. I've been wrong before. It's fine. So, anyway, yeah, we love you guys, and you are definitely going to be worth it when you come out on Disney.
Fall 2020, so we have a ways to go.
Hey, I got time. I got nothing but time, baby. So,
it's on my side.
So with that, we will bid you all adieu for this edition of the Foreign Affair Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us here this week. And until next time, everyone, stay safe and enjoy the football.
And good night, Istanbul, where Liverpool just go to win European. We hope to see you guys again soon. June? May the 30th. Champions League final.
Yeah, that's right. It is. Do they usually do that, where they host the Super Cup in the...
Yes, I believe they've started doing that over the last few years, because last year they did it. No.
Ah, makes sense. Okay. Wonderful.
This show is sponsored by Alicia's Pillows and Things. Check out the Facebook page, Alicia's Pillows and Things, where you will find home decor you will not be able to resist at prices anybody can afford. Check out the pillows and stools of your favorite sports teams. Maybe you want a set of your kid's favorite cartoon or movie character. You can also get full body and neck pillows as well. Log on to ngscsports.com and go to the Alicia's Pillows and Things tab on the home page to complete your order. It makes a great gift for Christmas at an affordable price. NGSC Sports. We never stop.
You're listening to NGSC Sports Radio. Hear us live on NGSCsports.com, where you can get awesome analysis for all things sport. Or check out our podcasts on iHeartRadio, Spreaker, iTunes, TuneIn, and much more. For our latest videos, head to NGSC Sports YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter at NGSC Sports and like us on Facebook. NGSC Sports. We never stop.